And you're live.
Ooh, 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 ooh. And we're live. Super excited for this one. This is literally a secret weapon. It's the great equalizer. Why are you laughing?
I love yeah.
Hmm?
Start of the
Ooh, 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 ooh.
yeah.
So literally the great equalizer when it comes to business. And I'll start with a story while I'm quickly calling Elena just to make sure that everything's looking lekker and sweet. I'll start with a story. The story is, hey, can you check if everything is showing lekker? Give me 2 minutes. All right. Are you late for the job, homie? No, I've got a kid in a bath, homie. Okay, sharp. Good enough. Okay, bye. Cool, bye, okay, bye. Bye. How many people have joined? Let me see.
22.
Okay, so still people joining. So how is reading and developing yourself through books the great equalizer? So I think 2 weeks ago we had a quite an influential person in the chair next to me. We did a podcast together, and it was about an hour or so in, and his assistant, one of his assistants, was sitting off camera with Elsie there in the corner. So she said, "What do you mean, great equalizer?" I said, "Well, think about it this way, right? If you take the gentleman that was here is probably about 100 kgs, 95, 100 kgs, but he's like lean, mean fighting machine, all veiny, big arms. And I'm a good 82. I'm relatively not dangerous, but I mean, if me and him attack you, you probably weigh 65 kilos. Do you have do you have a chance of survival if we really attack you and we want to like harm you? She says, not really, because it's a closed room. I can't really run away. I said, sure. So when the gunpowder was invented, and obviously the guys got creative, they created firearms and all this other stuff, that became the great equalizer. So if you had a gat with you and me and him attacked you and you knew how to use it, you at 65 kilos, our combined weight is, let's say, 200 kilograms. If we attack you, like physically go for you and want to harm you, but you have knowledge on how to use this weapon to defend yourself, do me and him have a chance? She says, no, you guys have 0% chance because I'm trained and I know how to use this. I said, exactly. That's the great equalizer. So when you think about the great equalizer in business, the moment that you start using books to aid you and assist you in your quest, you have an unfair competitive advantage because if you think about it this way, the more you develop yourself and the deeper in each and every area that you go layers down, the more competitive advantage you have, which means here's how I saw it for a long time. The area that I wanted to develop was negotiation. So how do I become a great negotiator one on one when I'm up against the customer or whether I'm buying or selling? Because in reality, the best salespeople in our company have to be the people that buy the cars. We need to convince you that selling your car to us at X price is the best deal out there. Long time ago, before the buying services arrived, that wasn't an issue because you trade in the car, you show him the medium or grouted book, and you say, "This is what your car's worth. Take it or leave it, buddy. You don't want it, then it is what it is. The next guy's going to offer you the same price." That's how dealerships used to operate. And luckily, I wasn't part of that. I'm too young, so I wasn't part of that. I came into the industry exactly when WBC started becoming very aggressive. So we had to learn, how do we compete against these oaks at your car, knowing very well that you're going to offer this car to someone else. You're going to offer this car to Wheelie, to We Buy Cars, to Getworth, and to every other dealership out there that's soliciting leads to sell their vehicles so that you can sell it to them. So selling is negotiation, and negotiating at the point where we purchase your vehicle is critical. It's important. So I thought about it this way. Okay, in order for me to become a good negotiator, I need to dedicate the next I used to go in 6-month runs. The next 6 months, I need to only study negotiation. So every single book that I could get my hands on that had great reviews or that was referred to me by people who read and are good negotiators. What books have aided you? What books have helped you? No, try this, try that, try that, try that. So each and every 6 month cycle, I used to jump out of a genre into a different genre, business books. No, what's that funny movie that the girls like, the chicks like? What's the movie, man, with the guy that beats them? What's the movie?
50 Shades.
50, no 50 Shades of Grey, boy. It was just business books. So 6 month cycles. By the time I'm 3 years in, I've already had a couple of those. So now for 6 months, I study negotiation. Then I study how do you actually train someone? How do you duplicate yourself? So the duplication process became everything that I'm obsessed with. Eventually, it comes down to three basic things. To duplicate yourself when you are busy training people, it is not taught, it's caught. That's the most important one. People are not taught in a classroom how to sell. They catch you selling whatever you've taught them, using it practically, showing them a result, and that's how they grow. So 6 month cycle was what I did. Maybe for you, you read faster, you listen to audibles faster, you take on information quicker. Maybe it's 3 months, it's every quarter. Then you obviously upskill yourself. For me, it was always 6 months until eventually I stole this idea from PBD again. And on one of the conference calls that we had, we meet once a month, and he gives me a book. So this is your book of the month. You need to produce three of your key takeaways, and you're going to unpack them with me, and then I'll shoot holes in your theories. And if I'm happy, then I'll give you feedback. If I'm not happy, I'll show you where your leaks are, and we carry on. I'm like, how? So you do this for your entire company? Yes, Bob's the entire company. Huh? Okay. Boom. Then we started doing it for our entire company as well. And then some of we had lots of kickback, and people don't want to read. And I didn't come here to read. Like I read when I was in college or in high school, or like Elsie. I can't read. Well, Elsie can read children's books. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Elsie reads well. She always gives good book reports. Very good book reports.
Dis reg, sal jy net
Don't
asseblief
hit.
jou
Don't hit.
screen share met
Don't
die presentation because
Do not
you are
hit.
presenting
Okay,
nothing.
don't beat me in front of people again, Els. Okay, let me just present. So we're about to go live with the presentation, but I actually prefer the other view. I don't like this view, but it's fine. We'll get into that argument later with you, Els. You need to fix my views on me.
I can't fix what you don't tell me that you don't like. So this is the first time that I hear that you don't like this.
Okay, so I don't like it. So next time we must just fix it. Okay, there we go. But this is as best as I can get it for you. Are you happy?
I don't know. There's nothing yet.
Okay, there we go. Are you happy, Els?
Yes, thank
All
you.
right, perfect. So let me just go back one slide. So eventually I go and look at the company and I say, okay, cool. Why's there music,
It's
homie?
okay. Just go. Just go with it.
Okay, did you put music on for us? Okay, thank you, Els. All right. So eventually I'd look at the company and say, all right, what are we currently in dire need of help with? So where are we struggling? What do we suck at? Okay, we suck at after sale service. Okay, cool. The next quarter, the books that we're going to read is after sales. But after sales has nothing to do with F&O, Bobby. Of course it does. Customer phones you. Listen, I need a copy of my contract. I need this, that, the third thing, the fourth thing. It's all after sales service. That's what we're training on the next quarter. Here we go. And eventually, even I've got a big hater in the call center. I'm not going to call out her name. She hates every book. She every book I give or suggest, she doesn't like the book. Said, okay, which parts don't you like? And then she'll tell me three things. I said, okay, if you were to like some parts, what did you like and did you take anything away? Was it a complete waste of your time? Then for 30 minutes, she'll tell me how she liked this and this tied into that. I thought you didn't like the book, homie. No, I didn't like the book, but it wasn't all that bad. And it's every month the same, and it's now a joke because she hates every book I suggest, but she reads them and she's got 30 minutes worth of stuff to say on each and every book. Having said that, I'm going to give you, there's lots, like literally, this became the great equalizer for me, but there's a lot of books that I can recommend, but I picked my top three, and I'm going to share with you why I feel the top three helped me the most and where exactly did they help me the most. So having said that, Slide one, I'm going to reset my clock and I will not go over time because I get threatened afterwards. How's you ready for me, Ami?
Yes.
Let's
Let's go
go.
ahead.
Okay, John C. Maxwell. It doesn't matter what religion you believe in. It doesn't matter what your life vision is. John C. Maxwell is a pastor, is a Christian pastor, but the way that he teaches leadership is evergreen. So, I've got lots of Muslim fans and customers that follow me and like my content. I'm friends with a lot of Jewish people. I'm friends with a lot of atheists. It doesn't matter what your religion is. John C. Maxwell, evergreen, phenomenal author on leadership. So developing the leaders around you. This is a book that PBD gave me that I've done probably 5, 6 times over the last few years, like every couple of months. And I just re-listen to the book on Audible. By the way, if you don't like reading, I don't like reading. I cannot for the life of me sit in a chair and read a book. So there's always like 7 or 8 people talking to me in my head, and I've got like heavy OCD. So what works for me is Audible, earphones, whatever speed that book can carry, where I actually understand the information. There's a nice app. It's called Audible. It's the app that's made me the most money. You can take a note and then just go and re-listen to the stuff that really made sense. I think it records 30 seconds back the moment that you push note. So that's one of the tools that I've deployed. Then if I've listened to the book and I've got the information and I write myself a book report, then I'm allowed to buy the book and put it in my library. So if you come to my house, I've got a kick-ass house. The first place that I take is my library. This is my pride and joy. All these books, yes, I've not read them, but I've listened to them. So if they're there, I've listened to them. Books that are in boxes and books that are on one side, I haven't listened to them yet, so I haven't earned the right to put them in my bookshelf. Okay, I'm going to kick in with the first slide, developing the leaders around you. So this is not a book, it's a step-by-step manual on how to grow the people around you. It literally is a manual. First you do this, then 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 you develop leaders. It is kick-ass. I don't know what else to say. Absolutely, absolutely kick-ass. My 3 key takeaways on a book, I always like 3, sometimes there's a bit more, but if I take 3 keys away from the book, and I've got it in a book report. So one of the people watching us today, he's a recently found friend. We've been doing a lot of business in the last 2 weeks. I send him my book report and I said, my actual book report on a book, you can publish it and make it a book because I'm very detailed when I do this. But then I'll summarize it in three key takeaways. So read my book. It's a 15-page book report on John C. Maxwell, 15 pages where I've typed out notes as I listen to it. But the 3 key takeaways is what I go to and I say, okay, what did I get out of this? These 3 things. Boom, idea. So I'm going to give you my 3 key takeaways here. It takes a leader to attract other potential leaders. So I need to consistently develop myself in order to constantly be seen as the go-to person for advice and leadership. Super important. People will not look up to you if you are not slightly ahead of them. So if the company reads a book a month and the bookworms in the company read 2 books a month or listen to 2 books a month, I'm on 4. Okay. I have to be slightly ahead because how am I going to teach people stuff? It doesn't just download from the Wi-Fi. You have to force yourself to do that. So on a Sunday, typically on a Sunday, that's when I go and sit down, just relax, earphones, and I start making notes on areas that I currently need to develop in, areas that are important that will drive the company. So for the last year or so, I've just been obsessed with marketing. That's like Gary Vaynerchuk. I can even speak like him. That's how much I listen to that man, and that's the only thing coming into my brain. And when I come into work on Monday, I say, guys, girls, here's what I've heard. This is what I think we ought to try. This is how I think we should do it. And if we make a mistake, then I need you guys to wipe the mess that I've made and pick me up again and let's go again. Or I'll call an emergency meeting. Else, you can be a witness to that emergency meeting in the training center. The people that are offsite, Elena, the rest of the team, put a piece of content on. Watch it. Tell me what you think. I got these 9 ideas. Tell me what you think. Well, we can use 1, 2, 3, 4. Boom, 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 boom. We level up. So as a leader, your first responsibility is to constantly get information into your brain so that you can go and deploy in your company. Having said that, I also need to surround myself with people that know more than me in a certain area of the business, so that it brings fresh perspective into the company, and it also levels up everyone in the department. So what does that mean practically? So practically it means this. Okay. Who is who is the absolute serial killer when it comes to recon? Okay. When it comes to processes and procedures in the recon center. All right. This person. How do I recruit him? Well, it's going to cost you. Perfect. Go and speak to that person. Sir, you just about to retire. You've been building OEM cars, winning awards for building German brand cars in South Africa. You're about to retire. You don't look expired. Let me check you. You don't look expired. I need your help for 6 months. Come join the company and teach me and my team what you know at a fee. What's your fee? This much. Cool. Let's go. 6 months later, boom, everybody levels up. Now we've injected his knowledge that he's taken 40 years to develop into our depot, and we've multiplied his knowledge. Is one single individual as good as he is in his environment? No. But collectively, they will just run circles around him in our environment because they've got info that he doesn't have. But processes and procedures of an award-winning German car building company, okay, deployed in our business, we have a competitive edge. Okay. Number 3, most winners are made and not found. This means if I want a winning team, I need to, as the leader of the company, make myself a winner and then help create a winning team that breeds more winners. This is a tough pull here. So every time I speak to leaders and consult for them, other companies, different industries, I don't have good people, Bobs. I don't have good people. It is the most repulsive thing that you can say to me. It is so unattractive. It is like I actually want to end the call. I don't have good people. If you have good people, it's your fault. If you don't have good people, it's your fault. So you are the exact reason you're not a good leader, hence you don't have good people. So may I be direct with you? I always start with that question. Yeah, sure, that's why I'm here. Okay, cool. How sensitive are you from 1 to 10? Because I'm about to kick you in your balls. No, I'm quite sensitive. Okay, how much? 6. Okay, cool. Here's what you need to keep in mind. Your team is a direct reflection on you. If you've hired the wrong person for the job, it's your fault. If you've hired a person that needs an IQ level of 150 and he's got room temperature IQ, well, that's your fault because you hired him. You set him up to fail. You set up the person, for example, I'll give you a phenomenal example. One of our head buyers was a salesperson, okay, selling cars. And I could see he was cringing when he sells cars. He literally, for the life of him, he can't do it. He cannot handle objections. He's nervous to phone a customer and make a closing call. He's scared he's going to lose the deal, not for himself. He's scared he's going to lose the deal for me, for the company, for the F&I, he's scared. He's shitting himself when he makes a closing call. Okay? The moment I made him a buyer, he's the best buyer ever. Like run circles around everybody. So what's the difference? Well, Bob's, I control the money, which means I am hyper confident because I get to pay you. I'm not asking money from you. So it's just a mind shift. But it's the same thing, homie. It's not the same thing, Bob's. When I come to you, I have the power in my hands. I hold the cards. No, you don't, because the customer can say no. He says, no, I don't see it that way. He's going to say yes eventually. It just means how many of my cards do I need to play? So the moment that I switch him, and he was on his performance management. It was a week later, and then the manager's going to fire him. I'm like, you can't fire this oak. Are you kidding me? This is a good guy. You can give him 100,000 rand now. There's 100,000 rand. Bring it to me in 2 weeks' time. He will not spend a cent. Do you trust him with money? Yes. Is he always on time? Yes. That when he gives you his word, is he? Yes. 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 How are you going to fire that oak? Just take him out of the position, put him as a buyer. Boom, 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 boom. Adjustments. Everybody's happy. He's bought thousands of cars for us. It's the best decision ever. So I don't have good leaders means you're not a good leader. You need to become a good leader first that people can look up to. How do you do that? You acquire new skills. You become the person that you needed back then for yourself. So I'm Uncle Bobby for 22 kids, okay, last week at a matric dance. I never had an Uncle Bobby with a fancy car, but I'm Uncle Bobby for 22 kids for when that phone ring. What is it? Want to pay? You can't do it with my car. If you want it for free, we can do it. 22 last week. 22. But I became Uncle Bobby to kids because I never had an Uncle Bobby. So that's how you need to think about it. What do I need to become for this person that's in ABC department that I never had, that I wish I had today, right now, that can aid him in his quest to be successful for him and his family? Happy with the slide, Els?
Yes, sir.
All right, lekker. Okay, so now, all right, this is a very difficult book. Okay, and this book, if one of you read this book and it's the right person, it will literally change your life. Okay, having said that, it's a very difficult book. It's called Barbarians to Bureaucrats, Corporate Life Cycle Strategies. So I'm not going to get into too much detail on this book, but the story goes like this. And try and find it on Amazon. You won't, because I bought all the copies. And the last copy before my new ones arrive is here. So if you want to buy this on Amazon, you will not find it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. The last copy is here. And every time they make 20 available, I just buy all 20 and then they come from America. I've given probably, how many books of these have I given? Hundreds. Seven. So when we did our Mid-Month Masterclass, where all the dealers came and we had fun, my gift to them was this book. This is how important this book is. But it's a difficult book to read. And if one of you read it, how many people are watching on TikTok, House?
70.
70. Okay, cool. If one of the 70 read it, we won. So Barbarians to Bureaucrats. As much as I'm going to first read, as much as I would like to think of myself as the prophet of Mid-Month, I know who I am and I'm driven by competition and I'm the barbarian. So this book describes my company cycle in the greatest of details. Barbarian, very competitive. I saw an Andrew Tate video the other day that I'm like, fuck yeah, this is me. He says, you grab me by the throat, I grab you by the throat. You squeeze, I squeeze. We both running out of air. We both about to pass out. You look at me while I look at you. You want to survive. I just wanted to fight. I thought, wow. So that's how I'm wired. You know, the guy competing across the street wants to build townhouses, literally wants to build townhouses at the sea. That's why he's doing this. If he builds his townhouses, he slows down. I know. So it doesn't matter that he's 20 years ahead of me in business. Once his townhouses are built, he's going to slow down. Okay. So that moment of him squeezing so hard, he lets go because now he's got recurring income from townhouses that he's built by the sea. And I just want to fight him because it's fun. Like that's how a barbarian is wired. So what happens is in this book is the barbarian fights, conquers, starts growing. Eventually the barbarian loses control of the company because now you need accounting skills, you need marketing skills, you need recruitment skills, you need duplication skills, you need digital marketing skills. So how do you hire? How do you fire? How do you conduct a proper interview? How do you do technology? How do we do this? We have 6 or 7 cameras here at the moment that we used to use to go live, and now we've got one single camera across all channels, and you guys see us. So a barbarian doesn't know how to do that. So eventually what happens is the company goes ahead of you and you find yourself in a position where now you're chasing your own tail. So eventually you start slowly but surely making mistakes and hiring bureaucrats. So what are bureaucrats? So here's what happened with me. I hire guys with CVs, big CVs. I have a CV in HR this long, as long as my arm. I'm like, wow, this person went to Stellenbosch University, one of our HR managers. That's freaking awesome. Like, then she sells me the dream. I'm just looking at her eyes like this. Awesome. Like the worst HR manager ever. Like horrible, 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 horrible to the people, to me, horrible. Then eventually what happens is these people mind fuck you, sorry for the bad word, that the way that it should be done is this way, because this is what the big thick textbooks say. It should be done this way. This is the process and the procedure. No, Bobby, stop doing what works and start doing it this way, because I have a degree and you barely passed standard 9 and then you just made matric. So listen to me, I'm the clever one in the room. So eventually that's the cycle that our company took. And I'm speaking from experience. That's why I love this book so much. Then one day, boom, a synergist shows up. Somebody that brings everybody together and tells the barbarian the truth to his face. So you see this person just tells you whatever you want to hear to your face, but stop listening to what they're saying and watch what they do. Can they produce the results? Can they actually produce the results? Can they produce the results? No, they can't, because you keep holding their fucking hand the whole time until they screw up, and then you go and mop up all their shit. So watch what they do. Stop listening to what they say. The moment I do that, swim a little bit or ride your bike a little bit. The training wheels are off. You got the degree, homie. Let me see the results. So this is what you came in for. This is the dream that you sold me. Execute on the dream. Oh, but this and that and the third thing. Oh, so you can't actually do what you sold me. I do it after I catch up with your mess that you made here. Boom, 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 boom. 2 years later, all of those bureaucrats out of our company and back to the barbarian style with people that can actually do the job. Actually do the job. Fantastic book. This is a capitalist book of note. And if you give it to the person that's applying at a senior position and you ask them about the book, you'll immediately identify whether they're a bureaucrat or a capitalist that wants to go with you and go on a 5, 10, 15, 20-year run. Fantastic book. We're going to, share this PDF with everybody on the group afterwards, so you can go in detail on my 3 key takeaways. And then if you have any questions, there'll be a way that you can contact me at the end, and we'll share that with you later. Okay. Happy with the slide, Els?
Very happy, thank you.
Okay.
Just try to stay in the middle of the camera, please, because you sometimes go out.
Stop shouting at me. Why are you shouting?
Just like,
Why are you shouting,
don't
Els?
be sensitive.
Okay, perfect. So, The Greatest Salesman in the World by Och Mandino. So the person that literally changed my physicality, I'll always show him love. His name is Jock from Kaizen Wellness. He said to me, what's your favorite book? I said, this one. He says, I've never read it. May I have a copy? Sure. Here's the book. He comes back. I'm like, did you read the book? He's like, yes, of course I read the book. You recommended it. I read the book. I like the book. There's 3 or 4 things that I really like, and there's 20 things that I don't like. But I like the book. Thank you very much. May I show you my favorite book? I'm like, sure. So he gives me this tiny little book. It's like this thick. Tiny little book. It says The Greatest Salesman in the World. I'm like, homie, who wrote a book without my knowledge? Let me read this. And at the end, I'm not going to spoil it for you guys, but it's such an amazing book of faith. And it goes and it touches you on your faith. It is absolutely phenomenal. It goes about some scrolls, and the scrolls are as follow. I will form good habits and become their slave. That's scroll 1. I will form good habits and become their slave. I'm like, if I form a good habit of exercise and eating well and become their slave, what does that slave look like? Well, let's see. Boom, 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 boom. 12 weeks later, I go from 100 kilos to 72 kilos, 38% body fat, 38% body fat. I was like one something by one something, as tall as I am, as wide as I am. I looked terrible. And then I formed good habits and I became their slave. 72 kgs, single digit body fat, 6-pack in 12 weeks because I became a slave to my good habits. Scroll 2. I will greet this day with love in my heart. Scroll 3. I will persist until I succeed. Scroll 4. I'm nature's greatest miracle I'm nature's greatest miracle. Imagine you program yourself, like you self program yourself to wake up and think that. Hey, okay, next scroll. I will live the I will live this day as if it's my last, giving my best. Today I will be master of my emotions. This one, scroll 6. Yes. Yeah, this one is hard. This one is hard. Don't let your moods and thoughts control you and your actions. The calmest person in the room wins. Okay, scroll 7. I will laugh at the world, see things in perspective, and laugh often. I will laugh at the world, see things in perspective, and laugh often. You know, my newsletter I posted yesterday, I don't know if you guys read it, but on a good newsletter, if I really, 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 really work hard, it reaches upwards of 250,000 people that view it. The current one is somewhere in the 50,000, and I thought it was one of the very good ones, but there's lots of reading, and with today's TikTok brains, not a lot of people spend time reading. So on my newsletter, I said the following: don't take yourself too seriously. A couple of years ago, you were pooping in your diaper and you couldn't even walk. So now you're taking yourself very seriously, but not long ago, you pooped yourself and you couldn't walk. Calm down, relax. Everything will be fine. All right, today I will multiply my value 100-fold. Toughy, toughy. And then I will act now. Without action, there will be no results. Urgency, and more urgency now means doing it immediately. The longer you wait, the harder it is to start. Super, super cool scroll. And then the last one: pray to God for guidance, not for material things or rewards. You always need to ask for guidance and not money. The riches will be found if you follow the correct path. Also, who you become is more important than what you end up accumulating, because money and material things tend to follow the people that understand what creates them. So very nice example that I used with one of the boys in the training center. So he's not financially where he needs to be, but physically, his physicality, he actually almost pulled the record in his weight category for deadlift. At that stage, he's under 70 kilos, pulling like, I can't even remember, but it was like 270, and whatever the record is, like 25 kgs away from the record. And the strongest man in Africa that pulled the heaviest deadlift, we've interviewed in our studio. So I connected the two, sharing ideas on nutrition, because it's a very competitive sport. You can't be over 70 and pull under 70. So it's like a thing. And but nevertheless, financially he's not doing well. Physically, he is in peak performance. So ask him, if I had the power to take away one of these two, which one can I take away? And you have to choose one. So he says, shoot, number one, I take out your physicality. So with a snap of my finger, you are 38% body fat and you are weak. You can't deadlift fucking 10 kgs. Okay, what's the other option? Okay, I take away your knowledge on how you got where you are. So you can keep the muscles, keep the gains, keep your strength, but I take away the knowledge. Which one should I take? He says, easy. He says, take my results. What do you mean? Okay, Andrew. Love Andrew. Eventually moved on to another company, but I really enjoyed this boy. He says, well, very simple. I know how to become this fit. It's going to take me like 12 weeks. So take away the body, leave the knowledge with me on how do I get here, and I just get here in 12 weeks. It's very easy. Keep that in mind. Okay, that's how I think everything in life works. So you can take away the money. A wealthy person is just going to become wealthy again. As long as his brain still functions the way that it does to create the funds, he will create more funds. Happy, Als?
Very happy.
Okay, systems, processes, and procedures to make your sales flow. So we're done with the books. 3 books, 3 key takeaways. Book reviews are going to be posted as it is here on the live. Are you going to do presentation mode or
Yeah,
PDF?
PDF.
PDF. So everything that you guys have been listening to, you can go in great detail and read. And listen, if there's spelling mistakes, it's me. So
Yes.
I'm trying to. It's not else. It's me. So blame me. I'm trying to make you guys money, not. I don't want to make you guys authors. So on my newsletter, there's always spelling mistakes, and there's always this guy that says, "Yeah, your punctuation." I'm like, "Shit, dude. Did the information help you? Can you make money with this information?" Yes, but your I said, listen, I don't want to create authors. I just want people to use what I've found valuable and just make money. That's it. No problem. Okay, Uncle Bobby, but maybe you should send it to me. Like, I'm not sending you nothing. So having said that, let's go systems, processes, and procedures to make your sales flow. Sequencing our IP in the call center. So what does this mean? So our IP is our intellectual property in the call center, which is the most heavily guarded place outside of the marketing strategic room in our company. Who touches the customer first? Why is that important? Okay, why is that important? So when we found the customer, what are the 5 or 6 questions that we need to ask him in order for us to qualify the prospect or qualify the inquiry? Because that's not a lead. In our world, it's not. In other dealerships' worlds, if someone filled out a form on the internet, whether he was drunk or not, or whether he wants to buy a car or not, that's a lead. It's not a lead. That's an inquiry. So how do we turn an inquiry into a lead? So when passed onto the sales team, it's something that they can tangibly work with. It's someone that has shown interest. Whether or not we get it approved, that's down the line. But what is the IP? Who touches him first? What questions do we ask? Then how do we pass that using technology to our salespeople? So we use a trailer card. We've invested heavily with that CRM. It's a US based system. I think we've been using them for 7 or 8 years. Never once has the system been off. Once, ever in 8 years. Okay, it's not our own. We pay a licensing fee. We had the guys that built some of the software for We Buy Cars. We had them here. They want to charge me 6 million rand to build our own system that basically does what we do with our current system, except we don't need to pay them the 6 million rand, and we pay a few thousand rand subscription fee and a licensing fee per person. Like, we don't need to spend the money because we're fine. We don't own the IP, but at this stage of the business, I don't need to own the IP, because even if we sell the business one day, this part of the business is not secretive. This IP is not worth 6 million rand. Appreciate you. Others are worth more, but not this. So how do we pass that onto the salesperson qualified so that that salesperson gets a push notification and phone the customer and has all the details of that customer with the car they're trading in, what their settlement is, what they want to buy, the availability of the car, their income, everything in front of them in real time, and they can execute. Okay, track data and focus on what the team needs to do. So analysis paralysis has been my middle name for many, many months, many years, because I didn't know what to track. I wasn't sure what will push the needle forward. And that's on me, not on anyone else. The moment I figured out these 3 things are important in my business. So for a salesperson, I'll give you what's important for a salesperson. It's very simple. Okay, input. In terms of input, how many connected calls are you making a day? Why is that important? Because the more connected calls that you make a day, the thicker your skin becomes. And eventually, what happens with the thicker skin is you tend to get unemotional on a phone call and you just lead the dance, because the customer might have fought with his wife, his girlfriend, whatever, and then you phone him at that time and he's not friendly, or he tells you to bugger off and phone him at 2 o'clock, then he blocks you, and then you get emotional because you think it's because of your upbringing. Meantime, the customer had a fucking shit day. So the thicker skin you develop, the more you tend to connect, and it's unemotional. And I'm leading this dance by asking you the questions to make sure that we qualify you for this product, if it's good enough for your family, if it will serve the purpose. So connected calls, apps with docs, applications with documents. Okay, apps with docs. How many actual apps have you done? Eddie, I use his name all the time on these lives with his permission. He needs to make 200 connected calls per day to hand in 5.9 applications with documents because our approval ratio used to be 52%. It is mid to low 40% now. Lots of people are experiencing financial difficulties. In order for him to do 30 plus calls, 200 connected calls a day. That's the metric. So how many calls did you make? Apps with docs. And then we also measure your closing ratio. So there's a percentage where if you go below that, you're no longer allowed to close customers unless I'm in your presence or you're in the presence of a manager. Or otherwise, we make the closing calls for you and then discuss the closing call until we lift your closing percentage on approvals. If it's above a certain percentage, homie, you do you. Okay, the moment it drops, we intervene and we help you out so that we can pick it up again. Those are the three most important factors in selling. Nothing else is important. Not how many cars you delivered, because that's a symptom of your input and then your apps with docs and your closing ratio. If you input a lot of calls, the apps and docs are a byproduct. If you have many apps and docs, no matter how shitty the ITC scores are at the time, because it's a cycle, right? We will get approvals. And if your closing ratio on approvals is high, you'll sell cars. So we don't measure how many cars you sold. We measure those three because that's the most important in sales. It's different for buying. It's different for the depot. It's different for marketing. It's different for F&I. It's different for management stuff. It's all different. But those are the three that are important to sales. Leaks versus opportunities that are created and prevented. So as your position leading a team or a company, you need to do two things. Add new customers to your bucket. So think about a bucket, adding more hose pipes to fill up the bucket quicker while plucking all the leaks. So wherever there's leaks in the bucket, you need to make sure you put stuff there so that it doesn't leak, so your bucket gets full. Where are the leaks? Where are the opportunities for you to improve? I love finding leaks. Like when I find a big leak, it's an emotional roller coaster. As good as our call center is, I praise them daily. As good as they are, there was a massive leak found last week by one of the managers. I'm talking big, big, like 10 out of 10 big. And how I missed it is actually, it boggles my mind, but I missed it. One of the managers caught it. We had an emergency meeting with them. Everybody started getting emotional, fighting. HRH, it's fuck, HR is not going to be a part of this meeting. For as long as I'm breathing, this is a big problem that we need to solve as a team. The moment we need to involve HR in solving our own problems, that shows clear inability for me to lead you. The only time HR comes in a company is when there's a dispute. When I say this is black and you say, no, this is brown. And then we need to get HR as a party to say, listen, guys, you're both wrong. It's black with green with some writing, and then she'll mediate the outcome of that as an independent party. No HR, we will figure this out together until the point where there's a T junction and none of us agree on what color this is or the way that we're going to go forward. Leaks and opportunities. How to handle a bottleneck process person versus a process. Okay, so if something fails, it's one of two reasons. Process, person. So sometimes the person is exceptional, the process sucks. Okay? Then you need to fix the process. Once the process is fixed and it's slick and it flows, then the moment there's a problem or a bottleneck there, it's the person. So does the person understand the task that needs to be performed in order for him or her to be successful at that job? No. Okay, good. Give them training. That's it. And then we move on. Boom, fixed. Process or person. Most of the time, it's your process. You just need to have ego control and the balls to admit that, listen, I developed this process and it freaking sucks. I'm sorry. There are 12 steps here and there should be 3. Okay, I've done that thousands of times. The moment that you admit fault, what do you guys suggest? Ask the team. Boom, 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 boom. Let's try these 3 versions. Come up with the right version. Go. Train everybody on it. The moment someone screws up, is it a process or a person problem? Well, this is actually a person. Today, I had a customer complain about a car. He loves the car, bought a X440i in Cape Town. Very nice gentleman, like articulated, like, wow, he speaks so well. He says, I want to give you feedback because I asked him for some reviews. I'm like, ooh, sir, I'm going to go and sit alone. He says, no, no need. You can take the call from your desk. No problem. But you need to hear this. I said, shoot. So he gave me like how he's happy with the salesperson, he's happy with everything, but he was promised that the car's registered the moment it was dropped off in Cape Town. So I said, impossible, sir. We settled the car and you literally bought it the moment we posted a video. It's a new arrival, it's a new car. I can't have the papers within 10 working days because we settled the car. Who told you that the car will be registered? This person. How did they tell you? On a WhatsApp. There's a screenshot. Is this a process or a person problem? That is a person problem. The process exists. There's a SOP. There's a rule. And this particular person has never given me, a headache like this, or I call that a hospital pass. I'm like, shit, homie, this is like a kick-ass customer, return business, customer for life. Like we really dropped the ball. He was expecting his new number plates, his license disc, everything to arrive with the car on his name through the test, everything sweet. I said, sir, not only is it not here, not only is it not done, I still don't have the papers from the bank. It will probably be at the end of the week. Then I need to register it. Then I need to employ Q for you there because you're in Cape Town. Get your disc, get your papers. So, sir, realistically, 15th, that's when I'm going to give you your papers. Well, you see, now I know to wait till the 15th. But the information provided was everything would be done. And I didn't know that you'll do it for me. That person, immediately, every single point that he made, too nice to his manager. I said, this is what your homie said. Okay, this is a person problem. We need to make sure that it doesn't happen again. Let's retrain him on process and procedure when it comes to registration of vehicles. Okay, that's bottlenecking. A system is sold to the top guys first by the court versus tort mentality. Okay, so what do I mean by that? When we need to implement, for example, if you don't have a certainty of reviews where customer reviewed you, good, bad, or ugly, it affects your commission. Fuck. Like everybody's freaking out in the management meeting, me the most, because how do I tell these oaks unless this happens, it's going to affect your commission? Well, I can't. I don't. So what do? I sell it to the top 5 people first. Do you guys agree that we are here to acquire customers, retain them, and then grow the customer base? Yes. How do we do that? By giving exceptional service. When do you ask for a referral? At the end of the transaction, but you warm up the customer up front, saying the following script. Sir, ma'am, if I over deliver on the promise that I've made you, and everything is a 10 out of 10, and you are extremely happy with this vehicle and the journey that we're about to take on together, would it be fair to, at the end, if I've met all your expectations, ask you for a referral for a friend or a family member? Yes, it would. Okay, now this gives you the right to ask at the end, but only if you over deliver on the promises that you've made along the way. This, by the way, has made me millions of rands, like millions of rands. If you missed this, go back on our live. This will be posted tonight, else.
Yeah.
And just that script there, write out that script and use it. You're welcome. Nando's hot pot mild and Coke Zero, please, or
Yeah.
sparkling water, 2. Elsie says she's also a hongor.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's how you thank me. Okay, having said that, moving on. How do I sell it? I sell it to the top 5 people and I let them sell it to the rest of the team. Here's why it's important.
Sorry. As jy jou kop draai kan toe vat dan sy uit.
Okay, so I need to keep my head here.
Yes. A little bit that this way, this
This
way.
way.
Yeah. There we go.
Okay.
Okay.
I won't move, I won't breathe. I'm
Thank
going to
you.
just stand here.
Sure.
Okay. That's how you sell a system or process or procedure. You sell it to the top guys first in private, and you ask them to sell it to the rest of the company in public. Private, public. Everybody looks up to the top 3 or 4 salespeople. So if they see they're using it, and that's how they make money, and that's how they get to 25, 35 cars a month, then it's good enough for them. It's good enough for me. I'm going to deploy the system. That's the mentality. That's the cheat code. That's how you do it. That's how I do it. That's how PBD does it. That's the right way to do it. Next. Okay. The less input from you as a leader, the better your system. The less input, the better. The more that a leadership is needed from your side, the less valuable your company becomes. The less input that is needed from your side, the more valuable your company becomes, or your team. So the less my team needs me, the more it's a reflection of my ability to lead. Does that make sense?
Yes.
It's very anti-intuitive, but that's the reality. If my phone doesn't ring, I'm doing a good job. If my phone rings off the hook from numbers that I've saved, so if my phone doesn't ring with numbers that I've saved, I'm doing a good job because it's customers, it's new business, it's whatever. If my phone rings from numbers that I've saved, I'm doing a poor job. That's the measuring stick. Okay, Els, with 4 minutes to spare. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, okay, 082-542-6659, 082-542-6659. If you want to go processes, procedures, systems, or unpack anything to do with leadership and driving a process, who touches a client first? Why? Why is that important? Why is that important? Who touches them last? When do I touch a customer? I touch each and every customer that buys a car from us at a very, very specific time. That's when I intervene every time with every customer. And it's a very slick way. So I can share with you if you book me on a call. While I'm driving, I've got shortcuts on WhatsApp Business. While I'm driving, so if there's metros on, sorry, but it's the truth. While I'm driving, if I get a trigger, I get involved with a customer. The trigger is pinned on top of my WhatsApp. So when I get a notification there, boom, if you receive certain information from me at a certain time, that's when I'm supposed to contact you. Not before or after. Exactly at that time, I'm supposed to contact you because then we're about to do a deal. Okay, having said that, you can book me. There's a cost involved. It's a 90-minute session that you can have with myself, either over Zoom that's recorded, or we've had most of our um, sessions have been in person, else most of our sessions. So we can have it in person or on a Zoom. You're welcome to book me. 082-542-6659. Process, procedure, the boring stuff that makes you rich. Process, procedure, the boring stuff that makes you money and makes your team absolutely competitive. 082-542-6659. Shoot me a WhatsApp. We're going to stay in our studio for a while after this call, and I'm going to engage you guys and share the costs with you. There's a way that you can book me for 3 sessions and pay for 2. There is a cost involved. It's not a free service, and it's done after hours, so after 6 p.m. We'll do it either in person here in the studio, record everything so that if you miss a note or anything is not clear, you can go back with your team. Elsie will send you the link in an edited version and go back and retrain your team on the. So I need to train the trainer, and then you retrain your team on whatever it is that you're struggling with, where we currently beat you. I can't help you make R1 billion a month because I haven't done it. Deal of the year, Hello Peter, Deal of the Year 7 years in a row, and F&I Mega Division 3 years back to back to back. And when it comes to marketing, we generate 300,000 unique eyeballs per day, every day. So maybe you want to chat marketing. How do we structure our posts? There's a guy that's about to explode, or he's already started exploding. I'm not going to say his name because we keep these confidential. But there's a young guy that is in everybody's feed, and that is raunchy and edgy, and he's boy, is he doing this with everyone's feathers. He sat with us last week, and his content has exploded. I literally, every time I open Facebook, he's the first person that comes up. Let me test the theory. Let me test the theory. Okay. No, not now. But during the day, normally his face. Let me see Instagram. Let me see Instagram. There we go.
Yeah, there
There
you
we
go.
go.
Yes.
Boom. There
Hy
he is.
hy jok nie, hy praat die waarheid
Yeah, no,
julle.
there we go. So every time I open either Facebook or Instagram, he's the first person in my feed. Why? Because he understands how to target. And now his content's going to explode, and he's going to take his company to the next level. So you want to chat marketing? This is a science paired with creativity, paired with a system and a process and a procedure with some AI that we deploy. 082-542-6659. Shoot me a WhatsApp and we'll get into contact with you. We're going to stay here for a couple of minutes after this and hopefully help you grow your business. Between now and then, Uncle Bobby and